Hacking in sim racing is probably one of the saddest things you can do on this planet, other than wrapping your supercar in chrome. But unfortunately, cheating is rife. Everyone's at it, from esport professionals to losers in open lobbies. Statistics say you've probably raced with someone using cheats recently, but have you been able to tell the difference between alien and hacker? Well, my friends, allow me to sacrifice my Steam account and install some cheats so you know what to look out for. This is what hacks look like for Assetto Corsa. I don't want to make an ad for cheats, so I'm using one that's pretty much obsolete and you can't use it in multiplayer, but we can see what kind of stuff is available. Of course, firstly, I had to set a benchmark lap. It didn't need to be particularly fast, as you can tell, just replicable. Now, I could show you all of the footage from this lap, but I can already sense this video quickly being dropped by the algorithm, so instead, I'll show you one of my favourite sections of track, I don't know, ever. Now, this is my favourite part of the track. Dive into this hairpin and bang it down to second. Hug it all the way round and smash the throttle on the exit. Keep it in third down here and stay wide and use as much of the track as possible for this late apex onto the straight. Beautiful bit of track right there. I kind of surprised myself with a 1 minute 43. It's not a lap that would set the world alight, but it's not bad for the 6th lap of a VR-only sim racer driving on a monitor that's literally 5 feet in front of my face after not seriously sim racing for the last 3 years because my sim rig broke and then YouTube happened and I had to spend all my time editing sim racing videos, so the last thing I want to do is actually sim race whilst also driving a brand new car after a large Sunday dinner with copious amounts of red wine with the added pressure of possibly tens of thousands of people watching and judging every input I make, and all the comments about me being a bad driver and an even worse YouTuber streaming through my mind at every corner. One wrong move on video and your time's up, buddy. Yeah, they're all going to unsubscribe. Say goodbye to 3 years of blood, sweat and tears you put into this channel, you fraud. So I think we're going to crank out power, brakes and NOS, yes, NOS, to about halfway. This should give us a nice kick of power, but nothing too crazy just yet. And well, there's absolutely no T's in this video. The double D's, direct drives, are in full action, netting us a staggering 4 tenths before we've even reached the apex of the first corner, and we've barely even scratched the surface of what these cheats can achieve. Although with great power comes some pretty drastic downsides. As we're carrying so much more speed on the same old rotten tyres, our braking distances are grossly enlarged, meaning we lose a lot of time entering the corner. But yeah, as soon as we're off the brakes, we're back into the green, and green mean good. What also mean good is nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide make car go fast, very fast. And we gain a whopping 4 seconds down the straight. Remember the clip from the start of the video? Yeah, I'm willing to bet this is the culprit. We can't keep it tidy on the final few corners, possibly throwing away some invaluable time, but yeah, it doesn't matter now that we're hacker men. And by the end of our lap, the delta was down by 9 seconds, giving us an impossibly fast 1 minute 33. It's safe to say, if you need to use this to win races, you're an absolute specimen. I don't know about you, but the fun part about sim racing for me is pushing myself to my limit, putting in the long hard hours and barely seeing myself improve. I just can't see how this would be fun for anyone using these cheats seriously. Sure, it may be fun to muck about with in single player, but it basically just defeats the entire point of the sport. And I can almost guarantee you'll get bored and become a drifter or toge driver in record time. So we've added braking and power, but now let's double our grip and match the car's weight in Downforce. I have a feeling we're about to set a 1 minute lap. Disappointingly, it wasn't quite 1 minute, which I hear way too often, but with tyres made out of super glue and more downforce than an F1 car, we managed to shave off the better part of 3 seconds. I mean, talk about diminishing returns. But before we get onto the coolest feature, being Autopilot, I think we should crank everything to the max. And needless to say, the lap was freaking quick, with 5 times the grip, 3,000 kilograms of downforce and 25 M/S little 2 in addition, the thing was comically overpowered. It drove like nothing else I've ever driven, and in fact, it was so quick it was impossible to drive on the limit of the petite Japanese track Okayama. And when we put our benchmark lap next to the cracked one, the difference is staggering, even on a slow hairpin. And this video wouldn't be complete without a straight line comparison, so there you go. Yet with all the cheats on the planet available to us, we still set a 1:17 lap. Now relatively, that is quick. We shaved off about 28 seconds from the benchmark lap, but surprisingly, this is still slower than an F1 car, by about 3 seconds I think. Of course, I'm wildly exaggerating how a hacker would actually use this. They would likely increase their grip by an almost inconceivable amount, but this would still be an unfair advantage, one that could net them a few tenths of a second over a lap, which is believable, and I don't think anyone would be able to tell the difference unless they closely analysed the lap. Now for the autopilot. Let's hit this button and oh my god, the car is driving itself. So it looks like it's just using the Assetto Corsa AI to drive. I have no idea how, but it is kind of cool. Although I have absolutely no idea why anyone would want to do this. You're not even playing the game, man, come on. There are some telltale signs that someone has an unfair advantage, and I think it's important that as many people know how to spot them as possible. One of the major giveaways is an increase in speed. Say they're 10 seconds behind you one lap, then 7 seconds on the next. If you set a decently fast lap yourself, and you know your pace is close to the uppermost limit of the car, there's a pretty solid chance they're hacking. Sounds like common sense, but that's almost a dead to rights giveaway. If you just can't fathom how someone is getting such good drives out of corners, and they're taking off like rockets, despite you already being at the limit, again, they're probably hacking. Their cornering speeds might be slightly higher than is possible without losing grip, and maybe they just don't need to brake for a corner that you do. Perhaps their cornering speed just looks too high to be legit. And if their car looks like it's breaking the laws of physics, then it probably is. Or maybe they're braking way too late and hard to be legit, and their car slows in half the distance that yours does. And if they're real bottom of the barrel hacking idiots, they'll have a higher top speed, and if they add downforce, their car will ride slightly lower than the rest. If you're watching their lap, they may also lift off the throttle and coast, as to not set a lap that's too fast. As for most cases of hacking, the most common sign is their driving is absolutely abysmal. They could be driving on the wrong lines and missing every apex. Maybe their steering isn't smooth in the slightest, and their pedal work is an absolute mess. They look like they just got their Legoland driving license, in other words. Yet somehow, they're still setting the fastest laps in the server. Yep, you guessed it, they're hacking. If you know the car and track decently well, this kind of stuff should be easy to spot. Always trust your gut, and maybe try to replicate their driving, and then report them through the correct channels. And well, if you're in a public lobby, just dedicate your entire race to ramming them off the fucking road. Justice served.